day, another blessing, another chance to be better than last week. God bless you all. Today's book reading is Learn How to Learn. And the title is The Only Skill That Matters. Thank you everybody for being here, whether you're watching now live or you're watching the replay. Don't forget to give a like on this video. If you like to share it, even better. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's start. Soak up knowledge by learning how to learn. Learning isn't as easy as simply reading something and then boom, you know it, you remember it, and you're a pro. Learning comes down to understanding, memorizing, using, and being motivated to do it in the first place. The only skill that matters scratches the surface of learning and teaches us how to learn more effectively. Not only will you be able to read faster and save time, but you'll retain that information for use in the future. The Super Learner series of learning books and hacks has helped more than 200,000 students succeed. The easy to follow, logical information in this book will help us tap into our learning potential and shoot for the stars. You don't have to struggle, and you don't always have to wish that you could learn faster. It's already within you. Information coming at us from left, right, and center overloads us in just 1 year alone. We see around 600,000 new books published, and those are only the English ones. In addition, we have digital media, news, and TV media, and all of it enters our brains and causes us to feel more than little overwhelmed. I need not scare you with the statistics of how many millions of posts, tweets, videos, and podcasts are shared every day on the internet, because the chances are you felt it. It's draining, it's tiring, and it forces you to feel pressured into understanding everything that comes your way. More than ever before, we must know far more in our individual fields, and if you want to stay ahead of the game and beat the promotion competition, it's on you to learn at a faster pace and in a more effective way. As a result, we have very little time for the fun things in life, such as reading for pure pleasure. By learning how to take on board more information and understand it, you can free up some time for yourself. We are bombarded with information every day, but most of it is useless to us individually. This summary helps you understand strategies and techniques to learn more effectively, hold on to information, analyze it, and use it in the best way possible. You might think you know how to learn, but were you ever taught the most effective way? As we go through life, we need to learn several different skills. But perhaps the most important of them all is how to learn in the first place. Has anyone ever sat you down and taught you how to learn? For instance, we need to sleep, eat, and drink, and then we need to feel safe. After that, we need to feel wanted and loved. Then we need to develop self-esteem, which eventually lead us toward meeting our potential. Effective learning is precisely the same. We need to cover all the bases to create the right environment for learning. See, many times when you're at school, not many times actually, all the time, the only reason you do not like the subject is not because you do not like the subject, you don't like math, you don't like science, you don't like English. It is whoever's trying to teach you is not teaching you in the right way. For the real teacher are the teachers who teaches from the heart and not from a book. This is very important. If they don't know how to teach you, they're gonna make you dislike the subject all your life. It is important to remember that our cavemen and cavewomen ancestors did not learn by reading textbooks. They learned by doing things and understanding the right and wrong way by experience. Approaching learning in this same way will help us absorb more information. Many studies have shown that people learn far better when feeling strong positive emotions and finding the subject matter exciting and fun. If you don't make mistakes, how you gonna learn? Our ancestors began to learn the essential skills in life via their senses, mainly their smell, taste, and sight. These kept them safe from predators and helped them develop critical hunting skills, which aided survival. You can do precisely the same when approaching learning. Learning how to do something by doing it more effective than learning how to do it by reading. It is very important to learn. I want to become a cook. So I go to school and I study. And they teach me, in order to make that sauce, you have to do this. You need flour, you need butter, you need this, and that. And that's how you do it. If I want to really effectively learn this, studying is not enough by itself. I have to practice it and do it over and over and over. And I'm going to be making so much mistakes. But in the end, I'm going to learn it. And this is the effective way to learn something. After all, if you can learn effectively, you can learn or become anything you want. There are 6 aspects of learning you need to master. Adult learning is quite different from childhood learning. Children start with a fresh canvas, which means that they need to build up their experiences as they go through life. However, adults already have specific experiences that can conflict with new knowledge if it's not explained correctly and if the experience isn't linked to what they're learning. To absorb, understand, and maintain the information, you need motivation and a reason to do it. Imagine you're telling somebody like me, 42 years old, I'm gonna teach you how to play guitar. It's gonna seem so hard. My fingers gonna be like, it's hard to place them. I feel like I'm gonna give up. First of all, I need to have motivation for it. And I need to know how to approach this learning guitar skill. For as we spoke about it before many times, success does not come in an elevator. You have to take the stairs. Jonathan's Levi's mother, or Levi's mother, told him that if it's not in the hands, it's not in the head. I love this. If it's not in the hands, it's not in the head. Meaning that unless you've done it or you're doing it, it's not possible to learn. You basically need to have the experience to learn effectively. Here are the main aspects of adult learning: a foundation, a reason to learn, knowledge of when to use the information, a link to solving a problem, an element of self-involvement, and motivation to learn. A foundation, the ability to link previous experience with what you're learning. A reason to learn, the why something must be learned, and ability to identify how it will help. Knowledge of when to use the information. An adult needs to have the wisdom to use their knowledge before it loses its power. A link to solving a problem, the ability to understand how the information you're learning will help you in your life and work. An element of self-involvement, fully involving yourself in the process of learning and immersing yourself in the subject. And finally, a motivation to learn, the reason why learning will make life better. I have a goal of learning something. Hopefully, I'm gonna start doing it by today, if God permits. What is it? I love music. I have a good ear, and not a lot of people have a good ear when it comes to music. That's a gift from God already, so thank God for that. But I want to learn how to read the notes, the singing notes. I want to learn, if I grab a sheet of music and it has the notes on it, how to say it, just by looking at it without even using an instrument. And I have a strong motivation. Now, a foundation. My ability to link previous experience, which is playing guitar or singing, I'm gonna link it to me learning how to read notes. A reason to learn. Why I wanna learn this. So my ability will be better when I go and sing with the choir at the church, or even if I look at a sheet of music and I wanna sing in a proper way. Because it will show you how to stretch the words and when to pause and everything. Knowledge of when to use the information whenever I want to sing. A link to solving a problem. Sometimes in the choir, I face some problem when I'm trying to sing like a new hymn or something. I have to ask the piano player, and she have to like tell me, that's how it goes, and then I remember it by repeating it. If I knew from the beginning how to read notes, I don't need that. An element of self-involvement. I want to involve myself in this process, and I want to immerse myself in the subject until I learn it. A motivation to learn. The reason why I want to learn, because it will make me feel better, and it will give me more understanding of how to control my voice and how to sing and enjoy the gift that God gave me. Children learn faster than adults because their personal cortex isn't as developed. Adults see things as they are, but children use their imagination. Plan to learn and look forward to grabbing the benefits. The author tells us a story about the time he began to learn Russian. He thought he was good enough to converse with locals, so he went to Moscow, but quickly realized that he wasn't as good as he thought. He hadn't seen the bigger picture and realized that grammar changes in conversation. He overestimated his ability because he didn't know about the bigger picture. When learning, you need to plan for it to be worthwhile. An excellent way to do that is to ask yourself several questions before starting the learning experience, including questioning why you're learning that information in the first place. It will help you attach meaning to what you're doing. Then, you should ask yourself what level of knowledge or general understanding you need. It may be that you don't need in-depth knowledge, but just like Jonathan Levi, when trying to learn Russian, there might be a certain depth you do need to know about. From there, you should work to break the information down into easy to manage parts and in the correct order. You should also plan out how to access the information you need to learn, how long it will take you to gain the knowledge realistically. And you also need a plan B, just in case things don't turn out as expected. All this will give you more confidence and the ability to overcome any obstacles that stand in the way of your learning. Did you know motivation is mainly associated with the cerebral cortex, the reward center of the brain? You can learn to visualize your way to a better memory. It's no good learning new information if you're not able to retain the information in your memory. The problem is most of us don't have a great memory. However, there are several ways to boost your memory effectiveness, and one of the best is using visualization. This basically comes down to imagining pictures in your mind linked to the information you're trying to remember, then making that image as obscure and memorable as possible. Thank God for the gift that gave me of drawing, art, creativity, because I use this in my life a lot. I picture things. If I want to keep something in my mind, I picture things. This is a marker and will help you remember many different things. Visualization is the process of using your imagination, but also really trying to feel what you're seeing. Using visualization in this way has its roots in Hebb's law, which says that when you link information together, the neurons in your brain fire up and fuse, therefore helping you remember one thing and then the other thing it is linked to. It's a very effective way to learn several pieces of information linked together. Memory markers need to be obscure and creative. Let your imagination run wild. Let's take an example. We meet a lot of people in our life, and sometimes, if not all the time, it's really hard to keep up with their names. And you know how important it is for me or you, instead of saying to someone, hey, what's up, dude, or to know their name, call them by their names. Let's say you met somebody and his name is Paul. And Paul doesn't have much hair or he's bald. When you look at Paul, say to yourself, bald Paul. And imagine Paul as a bald guy in your head. Bald Paul. Now the next time you're gonna see Paul, what's the first thing you're gonna see or think of? A bald man. Hold on a second, bald Paul. Oh, this is a Paul. That's a little silly example. How you can link things in a way that you can remember them. For example, if you wanna, let's say you want to remember Michael and Alice's names. Perhaps because they're your new, let's say, work colleagues. You could visualize Michael Jackson. Picture him in all his finery, strutting across the stage, but this stage could be your workplace, which links it back into the place where Michael is in your real life. Then, suddenly, out of nowhere, Alice in Wonderland grabs Michael and pulls him down the rabbit hole, which exists in the office canteen. That relatively obscure and strange image will help you remember their names. Even though we don't know any Michael or Alice, just by hearing this, if I tell you tomorrow or any day, remember the book I read? There was two people in the office. Do you remember what their name? You're gonna think Michael Jackson, Alice in the Wonderland, automatically. Utilize different strategies to boost memory and information intake. Another helpful way to boost your memory is to use the Loki Method, better known as memory palaces. A memory palace is a picture you create in your mind and then explore, planting markers to help you remember a sequence of information. Jonathan Levi used this method to help him remember his TED or TED talk, and it worked very well. A memory palace can help you remember large pieces of information linked together. Your base or your palace needs to be somewhere you've been before, so that you can visualize it in your mind. An old workplace, a restaurant you visited, or an old home. Plan out your memory palace on a piece of paper first before you start exploring it in your mind, to help you remember information in the correct order. Let me explain a little bit more. For example, perhaps you're trying to remember a speech, as Levi did, and you would then explore the palace in your mind, planting markers around the place to help you trigger memory markers. This would allow you to deliver your speech in the proper order, including all the correct information. You will improve the more you use this method. However, planning it out beforehand will help you become more effective. Many American educational institutes now use the Sq3r method to help students study and memorize information. Sq3r is an acronym that stands for: S stands for survey, Q stands for question, and 3 R's, because we have 3R: read, recall, and review. Survey, question, read, recall, and review. To the Sq3R, you will begin by skim reading the information you need to learn, questioning why you need to know it, and then attaching meaning to it. In the next step, you'll read it thoroughly before trying to remember what you've read. This is recall. Lastly, you will review your new information by looking at it from different points of view. The Sq3R method helps you prepare for learning, effectively priming your brain. Cross-pollinate your learning efforts for greater success. You might think that it's counterproductive to try to learn several things at once, confusing your brain and making it harder to remember different pieces of information, but the opposite is true. This type of learning, called cross-pollination, has been proven to be very effective. The more you try and learn anything, the more you're preparing your brain to be in the suitable space to absorb knowledge. The idea of cross-pollination is that one subject will always overlap with another in some way. For instance, if you want to learn how to become a better public speaker, you could also study body language techniques and how to show confidence. Then, you create the perfect storm to allow you to learn and master whatever skill you've set your sights on. The more you learn, the keener and more eager you will be. The more you learn, the keener and more eager you will be to continue. Teaching other people or sharing your knowledge can benefit your own learning efforts. Let me tell you from experience, the best way to learn something real good, learn it to yourself, teach it to others. This is one of the most thing I enjoy in life, is when I learn something and I share it with others and I teach them as much as I can from what I learn. That will make me even learn it better and better. There is no doubt about that. The more I do Bible study on my lives on TikTok, the more I know the Bible. The more I learn more, and I learn from you. Explaining something to another person motivates you to learn it properly. Also, when you learn something and then present it, you're learning twice because you're opening yourself up to the other person's perspective of that information. This can help improve your own understanding and this can help improve your own understanding and broaden your view of it. Of course, you also don't want to embarrass yourself if you're sharing information with another person, so it increases the stakes and means you're motivated to understand the subject inside and out. Understanding that learning is a skill of its own allows us to learn information and new knowledge far more effectively. When we start school and study new subjects, we simply get on with it, never really stopping to think about the best ways to take that information and understand it. As we grow, information bombards us, and the pressure to understand it all can be overwhelming. It's for this reason that many students become stressed out before exams. They try to cram as much information into their minds as possible, but they don't absorb it effectively. Then, when the time comes to recall that information, they struggle to find it. For instance, if you want to learn how to memorize a poem, you might think that you just need to read it a few times and that will sort things out. Yet, that's not the most effective way. Instead, create a memory palace to visualize the poem in your mind. That poem will stick for years. By taking a step back and understanding how to learn and improve your memory to retain that information, you'll find that you not only understand more, but you retain it too. Whenever you need to wow someone with a fact or display your knowledge of a specific subject, you'll find it much easier to recall and relate. When I was a kid in school, you know what I used to do in order to remember my study? I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say I wanna remember what I'm reading now. I'll go like this. Learning isn't about trying to fit as much as you can into your mind. It's about knowing the best ways to use specific strategies and get. Now when I do this, because I love singing, it sings better in my head. I enjoy it more, but it takes forever. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially if you know. But this is one of the way. Another way is make a palace in your mind. Think about the object of what you're reading in the poem and memorize it. Learning isn't about trying to fit as much as you can into your mind. It's about knowing the best ways to use specific strategies and get the most out of your learning endeavors. Perhaps not all the strategies mentioned will work for you, but you may find one that really connects with your goals and helps you achieve whatever you have your eye on. Try this. And when I tell you try this, I want you to try it. For when we read a book, when we talk about any subject and you're not gonna apply it in your life, that's a waste of time. Identify why you want to learn something. How will it help you reach your end goals? Instead of reading about something, get your hands dirty and actually do it. When reading a new piece of information, skim reading it before delving into it will prepare you to learn it. What an amazing book. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much guys for being here. God bless you. Thank you for everyone who been with me live. Thank you for everyone who's gonna be listening to this when I upload this video, and you can watch it on the replay. God bless you. Until we meet again, if God permits. Peace.